just kind of like pushing the boundaries of what beer could be. And I felt like Little Rock needed a brewery that kind of like accentuated that. We worked pretty well together, so there's always days where things can fuck up, but but in the end of the day, there's always beer.
Welcome to Stout Conversations, where every week we sit down with creative thinkers in the craft beer industry and beyond. Your hosts, Ken and April, live and work in a 24-foot RV, traveling the country in search of great stories around a great beer. Always in search of great breweries, we came across a rebel in the industry. Started in a garage in 2013, Rebel Kettle Brewing in Little Rock's burgeoning scene of innovative craft beers became a force to be reckoned with. Being rebels at heart, John and his team craft beers on their terms.
Well, and by the way, we're here in Arkansas, and we're at Rebel Kettle in Little Rock.
Beautiful.
This is beautiful. This is the best day since we've been here. We've been here for several days. And
you never know what you're going to get here, and that is what's beautiful.
That's all good. I can take that.
We have a beautiful array of beers here.
We do. Fantastic color, like a little rainbow. Yeah, we're like, can we try a couple of beers? The name of this one?
It's chocolate, it's mint, it's delicious.
It's chocolate, it's mint, it's delicious. That's the name of the beer?
Yeah.
I like it.
And if you're a Seinfeld fan, you'd get it. So, Heifer International has a farm over here and stuff, and so we got some mint from them, and that's used in there. We're good friends with them. They actually take our spent grain every time we brew. But yeah, they do some fantastic work, obviously. And so they use our spent grain to feed the animals over there, as well as for compost. So it kind of all goes back. It's really good.
That's cool. So you brew too, right?
I am brewer.
Are you the head brewer here?
I'm the head brewer.
And the owner?
I'm the founder, the owner, I should say. We have 3 owners and families that are attached with us. But so yes.
So you do everything. A little bit of everything. Not that you do everything and nobody else does anything, but
yeah, I wear a couple hats for sure.
As an owner, you always do, right?
Yeah. I typically handle most of the brewery side. We have a great staff, and thank God we have a great staff because they handle a lot of the other stuff. We're a big happy family right now.
Well, and you guys at Rebel Kettle are kind of that new edge of like a brewery scene that's really popping here in Little Rock. It seems like over probably the last 5 or 6 years, it's really taken off, and you've been here for 2 or 3 years.
We're coming up on our 3rd year anniversary. Let's go back to 2013. I started putting this together in my garage. It was a home brewer, right? Home brewer for, I don't know, it was probably...
That's the home brewer dream, right?
Yep, 15 years.
I gotta have my own brewery someday. I'm going to do it.
What you were saying, though, I mean, the Little Rock's still coming up. So at that point in time, I mean, you had not much going on as far as the brewery scene here in Little Rock. I mean, you had Vino's, which was the old staple. Love them. I mean, they've been around, I don't even know how many years now. I mean, 30 years. I mean, Diamond Berry at that point, probably they were pushing 15 at that time. And then you had, Bosco's. I think that was Damn Good Pies, but now they're looking.
That's one that's gone through a bunch of iterations, correct?
Yeah, they've been around, but they've changed a few. Bosco's was around for a while, and then it was Damn Good Pies, which is still there, but I guess they recently quit brewing. So that was all we had, back in 2013. And so I kind of been brewing for a really long time and started working into like kind of obscure styles, I suppose, just kind of like pushing the boundaries of what beer could be. And I felt like Little Rock needed a brewery that kind of like accentuated that. And so the plan was to put together a small Nano brewery, be the first Nano brewery in Little Rock. Only to find out that, like, literally, like, I 2 months later, I found like it was this article in like Arkansas Life magazine that it was like, I read this article about Flyway and Stone's Throw, and it was like, who are these guys?
Other Nano breweries.
I was like, wait a minute, and they weren't even open yet. So actually, right after that, I'd reached out to Matt Foster at Flyway, and we kind of got together and we started talking. And then it wasn't too long after that, Stone's Throw opened in that August, I think. So Matt and I, we became friends, and we actually did a collaboration on a beer because he was actually a licensed brewery at that point. He was brewing on a 10-gallon system, over in a building here. Yeah, like right off of 9th here.
10-gallon brewery.
Yeah, that was really what he was doing. He
A
was
lot of
like
homebrewers out there are brewing off 5 or 10 gallons. Yeah.
10 gallons.
He was that was what he was brewing on a Sapco Brew Magic over there, at 10 gallons at a time, and selling 2 kegs out of like.
Yeah.
And that was his brewery. So we made a beer over there called what was that called? Fig and Nutty Christmas. So it was figs and
Fig and Nutty Christmas.
Fig and chestnuts, I think, in a.
You got any of that stashed
Belgian
around
double.
anywhere?
No.
That sounds great.
It was good. It was good.
It sounds fantastic.
You can drink whatever you want to drink.
Yeah, so,
Jump in wherever. It's alcohol. It kills the germs.
There you go. Yeah, so we did that for a charity event that we did over at Big Orange Midtown, and that December, and so that was kind of cool. But that's kind of how it started. So I think before that though, I said that was 13. Started putting together things, and we did Little Rocktoberfest that fall, and that was like the first time I've ever really. I mean, I've always given beer to like family, friends, whatnot. That was the first time I've ever like given beer out to like an event like that.
So was that? You were still an amateur at that point, as a home brewer, basically? Or
I wouldn't say I was an amateur home brewer by any means. But
semi-pro?
I don't know how to, but I mean, I got a huge response for what we brought there. I mean, it was like, oh wow, this scene's hungry for like new and things that are just different, because again, we just didn't have a whole lot. And so from that, I got invited to another festival. It was like the next month or 2 months from there, which was the Arkansas Times Craft Beer Fest in North Little Rock. And so then there again, just got a great response. And from there, it just kind of kept growing and snowballing.
Well, it's actually, like, for us, this is really kind of cool, because Little Rock wasn't really on our radar, and then we kind of stumbled into here, and it's like, wow, there's some cool stuff going on, and the beer is like great across the city. I mean, there's a lot of great brewers, but I kind of feel like we kind of got let in on a big secret. It's like there's this, like, you have that old guard of maybe Diamond Bear and the bigger guys like Lost 40 and stuff that have that production facility, but there's a group of you guys that came out of that home brew scene that are really making this thing pop. I mean, those guys do good beer.
No, they do great beer.
But Flyaway, Stone's Throw, you guys, you're doing something different. You're really pushing the bounds of what can be done in beer, just like they are in Asheville, or they are in Denver, or they are in Portland.
Well, I think,
and I think that's a home brewer mentality that you guys are really jumping off and saying there can be something more.
Well, I mean, with as many breweries as we have in the nation now, I think we're past 7,000 now. I think that's where we're at. But
it's something like that. It's crazy.
It is crazy. So
it's an incredible amount of breweries.
What I've noticed, and probably most people have noticed, is that everybody wants what's new, what's different.
Yeah.
I'm kind of the same way, I suppose. I mean,
we are all the time.
Right. You're always wanting to drink something new. I mean, there's so many different choices, so why not drink something different? And so that is actually the kind of the model that I really wanted to bring here. Is always rotate beers. We really try to release a beer every Thursday, so we release a new beer every Thursday. I think we've only missed maybe a handful of times in the 3 years we've been open, but always kind of rotating. So like when people come here, we have 14, 15, 16 beers on tap. The next time they come back, hopefully we have a good 10 different ones, or who knows.
So do you keep kind of a flagship base, kind of?
We have 5 different right now. They have 5 different year-round beers, which is a blonde, cream stout, double brown ale, tart saison, and an IPA. And so we typically keep those year-round. Funny, those are typically our biggest sellers too.
So is that one of the, for lack of a better word, it's still a cool word, was that one of the coolest things you think about having a brewery, is to be able to create all of these different things and just to be creative?
That is probably the best part. I mean, I brew a lot of blonde ale. I do.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I still love brewing the blonde ale because I can do it now.
No blonde ale here.
Yeah, we didn't bring.
We've got a white IPA. We've got the New England hazy style. We've got everything in between. Holy cow!
But yeah, I mean,
go ahead. Sorry.
I still love brewing the blonde, but I mean, just like that homebrewer mentality, I love brewing a new beer and hitting what I expected out of that beer, or hitting those numbers where I want it. That's what brewing is all about to me. I mean, trying something new, trying something different, and it turning out well. Now, that's not always the case, but I would say.
But then you just dry hop it. Right?
I would.
No,
doesn't always work that
that's
way.
me. I would dry hop it. I would
work.
throw something in there.
Doesn't always work that way, but you're right. I mean, you can definitely sometimes we've had to we've literally started making the beer going this route and going, that's not working. I had to change and to make a totally different beer, and they turn out really well. Now, we don't try to do that often, but
Well, none of us do, but like we have a lot of fellow homebrewers out there who sometimes it just doesn't come out the way you thought it was gonna.
No,
especially as a homebrewer, you're always playing around.
I mean, I'm always my biggest critic, but thank God I got a lot of people that drink a lot of beer around me that probably know better than I do, and then tell me, hey, this tastes good or tastes okay, or good enough to actually put on the wall, because that's the one thing is we will never put a bad beer on the wall. I mean,
you can't really.
No.
Right? I mean, you're in business to not just make beer, but sell beer.
And that's the thing is if you can give people something new, something different, you're going to sell beer. As long as it's good.
Yes, that is a caveat there. It has to be good.
It has to be good. Yeah.
And as a home brewer, it's not always perfect.
No, I mean,
I try to make it good.
As a professional brewer, it's
But
not
nobody's
always.
ever perfect. I mean, that's the joy of all this.
I want to jump in just a quick rundown of the stuff we've got here.
Okay.
I think
Okay, there's a Plum Dog Millionaire.
Plum Dog Millionaire, which is
It is a bourbon barrel aged dark sour brewed with plums and cherries. Dark fruit notes all over the place, but then I feel like you get a really nice oak barrel character.
It's almost like you take a Belgian quad and sour it a little bit. Almost. Not a dark quad, but kind of that lighter
I guess,
quad.
Yeah, I suppose so.
So like an author, like a lot of people ask authors, where do you get your ideas from? And I think that's kind of what it just made me think of here is as an author of your beers, is there a certain place you get your ideas from, or does it just come to you as you're walking down the street? Or
No, that's a really good question, because I've literally made beers off a name that I've come up with.
Really?
So the name first?
Yeah, and then this is how sometimes we name beers. We'll be like, oh, okay, well, sometimes the name's first. Sometimes the name is hard to come. Sometimes the name just easy. It just fits, So it just depends, and we always have fun with names. Inspiration comes from various places. A lot of the times, I suppose, with the beers we do, they're definitely culinary based. I mean, with a lot of things that we do. But yeah, I mean, flavors. Say you're eating something and you're like, I like this, or you're drinking something and you're like, hey, how would that work in a beer? And how would you? That's the great part, is trying to process that and how do I do that with the ingredients that I have, or what's available to me, and then actually make it work. And so that's the best part, is to be able to hey, I got this idea, and when you start making it, and then actually you get that product, and you're like, how close was I to this? And that's really the best part of it.
Do you ever? You mentioned culinary, and I was like, do you ever think of a beer that would go well with this food or that food? Do you do any of that? Because that seems to be a thing where beer is kind of maturing. The craft beer seems maturing to a point where it's similar to the wine community, where people are starting to really sell their beers or pair them with food and things like that. Is that something you think about at all? Or?
Probably not so much as far as in the building process, because I guess I feel I think more in the flavors. But I like where you're going with that, because food and beer obviously go together, and it'd probably be a good idea to think about how would they pair with the beers. I mean, with the food that we have here,
But you were talking about beers that don't turn out quite what you were shooting for.
Yeah, I mean it happens.
But how often does that happen? And then do you ever what I've always wondered is, do you ever have just customers or employees or whatever try that beer and go, wow, that's a great beer? Because everybody's palate's a little different.
I mean,
and you may go, that's not what I was shooting for, and I was really had this in my head. But it's not a bad beer, even though it's not what you were trying.
It's when you say that. There's one beer that comes to mind, right? So I made this beer for a film festival that went down 2 years ago, and we called it Super 8. It was an amber ale, with all Centennial hops, that amber ale, right? And it just literally like was not good. I mean, not like it was bad, and not like it was off or anything like that. I just did not like it.
Just like,
the whole character just did not work for me at all. But I still have people ask me about that beer when I'm going to make it again.
You still want it.
So it must have been good. I mean, I guess. See, that's the thing. Is like my palate, even though I'm a worst critic, and I'm not always right. So yeah,
but that can play against you because it's in your head that like this is what I want.
Just because I don't like it, right?
You're like I want this, and it's not what you wanted.
Just because I don't like it doesn't mean that other people don't.
And if you blind taste tested it without knowing it was your beer shooting for this thing,
I still wouldn't have liked it.
Okay, that one beer. The one beer.
I mean, that's not the only beer of ours that I wasn't, just usually fond of, but that's probably that's in my top 5 for sure. I mean,
but it's kind of a crazy thing because people do like different things, and your palate's different.
Right.
Everybody tastes like you and I and April could all try the same beer here, and we're all going to describe it a little different or taste it a little different.
Absolutely.
Josh is business partner, brewer,
owner brewer,
owner brewer, business partner. We've met so many cool people and the community and everything. It's like, I know there's something more that beer that elevates you to another level, but that's something we like to talk to people about when we're talking. We have our idea of living a stout life, which is about the beer, but not just about the beer. It's about the people, about living an intent life and stuff. But what would you say is John at Rebel Kettle's living a stout life? What is your idea of a stout life?
I mean, I'm literally living my dream at this point. I mean, I took it, from brewing 5 gallons in my garage, to this. So I mean, right now I couldn't ask for much more. I mean, I work with great people. We make pretty damn good beer, I think.
No, you do.
And we've got a great staff. So I mean, and everything works. I mean, 3 years in, we work pretty well together. So there's always days where things can fuck up, but but at the end of the day, there's always beer. I mean, so it seems to be working out. I mean, I couldn't ask for anything more. I love just getting behind the bar. Out there pouring myself a beer or something, and then somebody at the bar, mention something about a beer, and then just get into a conversation. So I mean, it's just meeting different people that come in here. We have a lot of different regulars. It's just, I don't know. I mean, it's turned into a really fun job, to be honest. I wouldn't even call it a job. I mean,
I would say that's a stout life.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers.
Oh yeah, we gotta do that.
Oh yes.
Do that.
Whoops.
There are new episodes with new conversations every Sunday night. Be sure to subscribe and click the little gray bell so you don't miss out. We'd love to hear from you. Everyone has a little rebel inside of them. How are you a rebel? Leave us a comment below or by following the link in the description.
In Africa and different countries, they help with
Africa's not a country.
Didn't know I could come to Little Rock, drink great beer, and get punched in the face too.
I'll punch you in the face.
So with that,
I'm gonna throw you on the spot for a second. I'm not gonna go trolling or anything like that.
forest trolling.
You brought that up. I did not bring that up. On camera, I did not bring up forest trolling. But yes, we're gonna go forest trolling.
Yeah, so it's cool because I can control from up here. So I can bring it up this log or two into the math done. I like saying.